So just let me know in chat whether my screen is visible or not. Okay, fine. Okay, so today 15th 20. Okay, so let's start the same thing again. Okay, so there is an element and we have a 2 points. Okay, and we therefore, since 2 points, two node element we are considering, therefore we have a two different shape functions, n1 and n2. Okay, so this is my, so I call this as xi. Okay, that is equal to -1 and xi equal to 1. Okay, so if you see, if I type this as a xi, I get this symbol. Okay, so I call this as xi and this is my eta. Okay, so eta is this. So this is my xi and this is my eta. Okay, so we are going to use this symbol now. Okay, now here n1 is 1 and n1 is 0 at other location. So this is what is n1 and this is what is n2. And if you remember, I scroll up, we have derived n1 equal to 1 by 2 zeta 1 minus zeta and n2 equal to 1 by 2 1 plus zeta. So you can go through this derivation. This derivation is most important derivation. Okay, so you have to mug up this for your lifetime. Okay, so you may go in masters and everything, FEM you will encounter, whichever may be your branch, finite element method will be there in your masters. Okay, and there, if you don't know this concept, then you are going to get into trouble. So remember this concept. This is the one of the most easiest way. Okay, and one of the important thing, that the technique which I presently telling you, that does not exist in current any of the book. Okay, that is what is the most important thing. That is why I am telling you this way. If you do it, it's a lot easier. Okay, so this is my n1 and this is my n2. So I just write down this. So my n1 is 1 minus xi by 2. Okay, and n2 is 1 plus xi by 2. Okay, now finally what we are interested in, having x equal to n1 x1 plus n2 x2. Okay, and so on, but this is a two noded element, so therefore this is the form. And we have q, where q is the displacement, q1 n1 plus q2 n2. Okay, where q1 and q2 are displacement of node 1 and 2 respectively. And this is what we are using a isoparametric formulation, where coordinate system as well as the displacement using the same relationship. So that is isoparametric formulation. There is a super parametric formulation also and sub parametric formulation also. Okay, so in super parametric, higher order polynomial for the displacement is used and lower order polynomial for coordinate is used. So maybe this is linear and this is more higher, this is more quadratic form, or maybe 3 points are there. Okay, so that can be super parametric. Sub parametric means this is higher and then this is lower. Okay, that is sub parametric. So later on we are going to have all these things, super parametric, sub parametric. Okay, so presently we will only bothered about the isoparametric formulation. So ultimately this is what I want. Okay, and now if you remember, last time I wrote a equation, energy integration of x1 to x2 E. So this is modulus of elasticity, and I call this EE as a energy, dq by dx whole square a dx. Okay, so last time I wrote this equation, and from this we have to derive. Okay, so I just go ahead, few things I want to make this as generalized. So this is 1 by 2, of course. So I want to make this generalized, so in further chapter you can use it. 1 by 2 integration of x1 to x2 E dq by dx and dq by dx a dx. Okay, now dq by dx is strain. So modulus of elasticity into strain is your stress, sigma. According to Hooke's law, modulus of elasticity into strain is your stress according to Hooke's law, and this represents strain. Okay, so therefore I write E as 1 by 2 integration of, now over the element, I will write it is over the element, it is sigma transpose because it is a matrix. Okay, so when we want to multiply, so E into dq by dx will turn to sigma transpose. So dq by dx will turn to epsilon, that is a strain, and a dx will turn to dv. Okay, so this is what is my generalized equation. For energy. Okay, so one should remember this equation. Okay, so I just scroll down. Okay, fine. So one should remember that sigma transpose into epsilon into dv is the generalized equation. Okay, now for 1D, okay, the cross sectional area is not going to change, but the length of individual element could be vary. So whenever you mesh or discretize, the length of element could change, but the cross sectional area within the element, so for that particular element, it is always constant. From one point to another point of that element, the cross sectional area is not going to change, and therefore dV will always turn to AdX. Okay, and for 2D problem, so let us consider this is a plate. Okay, so for 2D problem, the cross sectional area is going to change, but this thickness is not going to change. Okay, so in case of 2D problem, this cross sectional area is going to change, but the thickness is not going to change. That means you are going to assume either plane stress problem or plane strain problem. So this thickness is going to always remain the same, and in case of 2D problem, dV will change to T dx and dy. Okay, and for 3D problem, okay, now my dV will, because in 3D everything will change, so I have dx, dy and dz. So in this way you are going to have a replacement for value of dV, and according to that you are trying to find out the solution. Okay, so basically from EE we are trying to find out what is going to be my stiffness matrix, because energy represents the because of my stiffness. So my energy EE, again I write the same formulation, 1 by 2 over the element sigma transpose E dV. And now since I am solving a two-dimensional problem, 1 by 2 limit will be from x1 to x2 sigma transpose E A, so not this E, sorry, this is epsilon. Okay, so it is a strain A dx. So only I change to dV to A dx. Now the problem is this limit x1 to x2, x2 to x3, then x4 to x5, this is going to create a problem, and therefore I create a local coordinate system xi, which starts from -1 to 1 for each and every element, to take the advantage of Gauss quadrature point, whose limit is -1 to 1 f of u du. So I can solve this with the simple formulation. Okay, so that is what we want to do it, and it is easy to code it. So I can create a program where limit starts from -1 to 1, and that is applicable for all the elements. So that's not easier task. Only one function is going to solve my all the purpose. Okay, rather than handling different limits of integration. Okay, and that is what is the purpose of having a local coordinate system. So now the challenge is we want to have x to be converted into xi. So already we know x equal to n1 x1 n2 x2. Okay, so let's rewrite that equation again here. So n1 equal to, not n1, so we have x equal to n1 x1 plus n2 x2 is equal to, so this will be 1 minus xi by 2 x1 plus 1 plus xi by 2 x2. Okay, so just let me know whether you got this relationship or not. This one, just let me know. Okay, so what this gives me, a relationship between x and y. Okay, this is what gives me, and I have the another equation, q equal to n1 q1 plus n2 q2. So this gives me relationship between q and y. Okay, so x is related to y and q is related to y. So therefore now I can establish the relationship between x and q. So that is what is the relationship, and that is what I have to do to find out this strain parameter. Strain parameter is dq by dx. That is what is my objective. Okay, strain parameter is dq by dx. So since now x is indirectly related to q, I can find out the relationship between x and q. So one of the important thing, that what is this equation? Okay, so this equation is also called as transformation equation. Okay, so what is the purpose of this? There is an element whose limit is x1 and x2, and we are going to transform this x1 and x2 in such a way that it will change to -1 to 1. Whatever may the value of x1, whatever may the value of x2, it will change to -1 to 1. That is what it is going to happen. Okay, so this actually brings out this transformation, and therefore this is also sometimes called as transformation equation. So any values of x1 and x2 will bring out to -1 to 1 for each and every element. Okay, so you could easily verify this by putting the values of n1, n2 and x1 and x2, that you could see that it will automatically get converted into -1 to 1. Okay, that's going to happen. One numerical we'll try to solve. On the basis of that, you will understand that the system will turn to -1 to 1. Okay, fine, no issue. So this is my equation. Okay, so from that, what I am going to get? Okay, so I want dx is equal to, okay, or I could say 2 I bring out on this side, 2 dx equal to minus d xi x1 plus d xi x2. Okay, so just let me know whether you got this equation or not. So from this I achieve this. Everyone, please let me know whether you understood this equation or not. Okay. So from this I want to find out d xi by dx. That will be equal to 2 by x2 minus x1. This is what I am going to get, and I can write this as 2 by LE, where x2 minus x1, difference between these two represents the length of an element, so it is going to get 2 by LE. This is what I am going to get when I simplify this d xi by dx. Okay, Now similarly, I want to find out what is dq by d xi. Okay, so this is one is the important equation which I am going to require later on. Okay, so I label this as a 1. So now my q is equal to 1 minus xi by 2 q1, okay, plus 1 plus xi by 2 q2. So now you have to just let me know. So whatever I am writing, is correct or not. Okay. So just let me know whether this is correct or not. Yeah, just let me know whether this is correct or not. Okay, so everyone got, we suppose that this is correct. So this is my equation number 2. Okay, and this is what is I need to find out strain, because I want to have a dq by dx square or dq by dx simply. So what is my target now? So I use the space. I want to find out dq by dx, which is my actually strain. So this is what I want. So I could say this is dq by d xi, okay, and this d xi by dx, and both already I have calculated. Okay, so therefore this will be equal to, okay, dq by d xi is 1 by 2, okay, that is q2 minus q1, and d xi by dx, that is 2 by length of an element. Okay, so this gives me 1 by le q2 minus q1. This I can write in terms of matrix as 1 by le minus 1 1 q1 q2. Okay, so this is what I am going to get. So just verify. I'll give you 2 minutes to for the verification for this problem. Okay, so just try to verify. Just try to verify whether it is correct or not. Okay, so I hope everybody understood this is correct. Okay, or if it is incorrect you can correct me. So from this I can write my strain, which is dq by dx, is equal to 1 by L minus 1 and into multiplied by q1 q2. So this forms my B matrix and this forms my Q matrix. So I can write my epsilon is equal to B into Q, and whereas B called as element strain displacement matrix. Okay, so B is called as element strain displacement matrix. Okay, so this is what is the meaning of B. So I already told you what is B and what is Q. Okay, this is what we got now for B. So how I am going to get sigma now? Sigma equal to modulus of elasticity into strain, and that is how I am going to get E, B and Q. Okay, so these two relation A and B is now sufficient to derive my energy equation. Okay, the process is very simple. Okay, so this is the same process we are going to repeat again and again, that is dq by dx. This is what ultimate aim is to find out. Okay, so what we will be doing throughout our subject, we will be forming x equal to this equation and then q equal to this equation and then dq by d zeta and then dq by dx. So strain, once we get the strain we find stress. So once we know this we put down into this energy equation. Okay, and we derive the stiffness. So this is the procedure required for all the elements. Okay, okay, so now my energy will change to 1 by 2 from x1 to x2. Okay, what I'm going to get is sigma transpose. Okay, so I just rewrite this again, so it will be in a better position to understand you. Dx A dx is equal to 1 by 2 x1 x2. Sigma transpose will be EBQ. Okay, so therefore Q transpose EBQ B transpose and E. Okay, so we have to write in reverse order EBQ, since it is a transpose and I want the same result for the matrix, so I need to write in a reverse form, and my epsilon will be B into Q, that is what my epsilon, okay, that is strain A dx. Now the question is, we have to replace dx, okay, so that this will turn to -1 to 1. So we'll take the transformation matrix help. So what is the transformation matrix help? This, and from this I got d xi by dx is 2 by le, or I can say dx equal to le by 2 d xi. So from this I could also write down dx equal to le by 2 d xi. This also I can write down. So this is my transformation matrix, this. So you could see, if I put x equal to x1, so just let's say x equal to x1 I put it, okay, I put -1 by 2 x1 plus 1 plus zeta by 2 x2. Now if you solve this, okay, you are going to get zeta equal to -1, and if you put x equal to x2, that is x2 equal to 1 minus zeta by 2 x1 plus 1 plus zeta by 2 x2, and if you solve this, you will get zeta equal to 1. You can do this stuff, okay. So you will get this is -1, because that you can find out now, okay. So you could easily get what you are getting it, okay. Fine. So this is the homework part. You can try out whether you get the same result or not, okay. So you are going to get the same result. Okay. So now, so I have dx equal to le by 2 d xi by 2. So instead of question mark now, so le by 2 d xi, it is le by 2 or 2 by le? Le by 2, okay, le by 2 d xi, and therefore now my limit will change to 1 by 2 -1 to 1, okay, q transpose b transpose e b q a le by 2 d xi, okay, where my B matrix is 1 by le -1 1, okay. So I give you just 2 minutes to verify this. You can try to work out whether this is correct or not. So I am just giving you time to focus on the important aspect. Okay, so I hope you got it. So just a simple thing. So some of you might be having a query related to this. So 1 minus xi by 2 x1 plus 1 plus xi by 2 x2. Okay, so let's put x equal to x1, 1 minus xi by 2 x1 plus 1 plus xi by 2 x2. Okay, so that gives me 2x1 x1 plus x2, okay, plus if I take out xi common, I get x2 minus x1. So this is what I am going to get. So if I bring out this on this side, so I get x1 minus x2 is equal to xi x2 minus x1, and from this I could easily say xi is equal to minus 1. Okay, and that is why the limit is going to change from minus 1 to plus 1. So similarly for other thing you can find out, you will get the xi equal to 1. Okay, so I hope that clears how the limit minus 1 to 1 is changing, and that is why this is also called as the transformation equation. Okay, because it transform any x1 x2 coordinate to a minus 1 to 1. So that is what is the thing. Okay, so now I see B is independent of zeta, so there is no xi involved in B, so B is constant, and where Q is the displacement, E is the modulus of elasticity, and area of an element, it is going to be also constant because it is not going to change within the element. So what I see, all these terms are constant. So therefore I write this in form of this. So Q transpose 1 by 2, okay, B transpose E B integration minus 1 to 1, and of course A is also constant, so I'll take out A also common, okay, and LE by 2 is also constant. Okay, so since I don't have a space, I just write LE by 2 inside d xi, and I have a one more term which will be outside, that is Q. Okay, so this is how this equation is going to be turned out. Okay, now if I compare this, is equal to 1 by 2 kq square, because this is the energy, this is the energy 1 by 2 kq square, and here a q will be multiplied. Okay, so this is the energy, okay, that is 1 by kq square. So if I compare both the equations, so q square, so this q and this q will get transferred, cut this 1 by 2 1 by 2, so rest whatever remain represents my stiffness matrix, and that is what I am going to do it. Okay, so my stiffness matrix K here in this case will be B transpose E B A LE by 2 integration of minus 1 to 1 d xi. Okay, so each and every term is known to me. B transpose will be 1 by LE, that is going to have a common, minus 1 1, this is what is my B transpose, modulus of elasticity E remains as it is, B is 1 by LE minus 1 to 1, okay, A remain as it is, LE by 2 remain as it is, and integration of d xi minus 1 to 1 gives me 2. Okay, it gives me 2. That integration, if you integrate this, that gives me value of 2. Now by rearranging this, okay, so this LE will get cancelled, this LE, these two will get cancelled, these two, so I got only 1 by LE once, 1 by LE minus 1 to 1, multiplication of minus 1 to 1 into E into A. This gives me A E by LE 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. This is my stiffness matrix, and this is the derivation in what you call this as a local coordinate system. So this is what previously also we have derived, but that was using a global coordinate system. Now here in this case, that we have derived with the help of local coordinate system or intrinsic coordinate system. Okay, so that because of this, my integration problem reduces to say usage of Gauss quadrature 2-point method. Here in this case, this was a lot easier, so immediately I got 2. Okay, but if this is complex, then I have to use Gauss quadrature 2-point and 3-point method to evaluate this, and finally I am going to get this. So I hope you understood this. Just let me know. Okay. So this is how we got the stiffness matrix. So this is finally, I can say I have derived K as AE by LE, okay, 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. Okay, so with local coordinate system, okay, it doesn't going to make a difference whether I'm going to derive with the global or local, but when we do with global, so we cannot code it, we cannot program it. That is what is the problem. Okay, and that is why we shift to local coordinate system. So from now onwards, we'll not be using a global coordinate system, we'll be always converting a global coordinate into a local coordinate with the help of some transformation. So again I repeat, what procedure we are going to follow throughout our FEM. Okay, first find the transformation equation. Okay, depending upon the order of polynomial, we are going to assume here 2 noded element was there, so therefore n1 x1 n2 x2. We are going to form what is going to be my displacement equation. So this is my displacement equation, this is my transformation equation, and then ultimate aim is to find out my this dq by d xi by establishing a relationship between x and xi and q. Okay, so in this way, once we got dq by dx, from that we got the strain. Okay, once we know the strain, we can use Hooke's law to identify what is going to be stress, that is the sigma. Once we know sigma, we use this energy equation, and in this energy equation all the parameters, that is my sigma and strain, that is epsilon, I am going to replace it, form this equation, solve it, and finally where I am going to reach is to this K. So this is the common procedure right from chapter 1 to chapter last. Absolutely no change. Okay. Okay, so let's try to establish some problem, okay, on the basis of this. So now let's solve some problem. So I extend this, okay. Okay, so now I can use my mouse in a more better way, okay. So through online I learn also few things. So let's consider this to be, let us say, 200 mm, and this to be little larger, 225 mm, okay. Now area of this, let us consider 100 mm square. All the dimensions are mm, in mm, okay. Modulus of elasticity considered to be, let us say, 70 GPa, okay. Here let us consider area to be 50 mm square, and maybe modulus of elasticity 200 GPa. And let's consider I apply a force of maybe 5000 Newton in this direction, okay. Now what is my challenge? My challenge is to find displacement, strain, and then finally stress. So these are the three challenges which I need to find out, okay. So first step is the discretization phase. So I am going to write steps in FEA. First step is my discretization, okay, and more commonly called as meshing. So meshing means dividing complex geometry into a simple geometrical elements. So here in this case this phase is not required, okay, because my geometry is very simple, area is given, and I know 1D spar element is always circular. मी सांगितलेलं आहे, कधीच विचारायचं नाही, विसरायचं नाही. It is always circular 1D spar. So the area is always circular, it is directly given, length is given. So meshing is not required, it is already meshed. So this is element 1, this is element 2. So discretization phase is absent, okay. Next phase is to form individual stiffness matrix. That is, for each element you find out individual stiffness matrix, okay. Then third step is to form individual force matrix. So on each element how much is the force, okay. So that we have to find out. So that may be complex when you are involved in some kind of self weight, inertia forces, pressure, okay, moment. So in that case you might to have calculate the individual force matrix. So presently this step is not required because we are applying a force at only one location. Self weight we are not taking into consideration. So individual force matrix is not required. We can directly prepare it. That is what is the thing. We can directly prepare the global force matrix, and that is why here in this case this is being a simple problem. Individual force matrix is not required to be prepared. You can prepare it, but finally we know that is going to, we are going to get it. So let's avoid this step. because but when in the examination the question is asked, you have to write down all these points. The next is form global stiffness matrix. Okay, so you need to do the assembly of each individual stiffness matrix, then you have to form the global stiffness matrix. Fifth step, form global force matrix. Okay, so this we can directly prepare, and that is why this step is we are trying to avoid it. We can prepare because this is a simple one. Then next, write FEM equation KQ equal to F. Okay, next use elimination or penalty approach. Okay, to for system of equation. Okay, so this KQ if is not solvable, okay, because it is unsolvable. So what we do, we use elimination approach. So last time if I have explained you that what we have done, there was some row, so we have cut one column, first column and first row, and then we have formed the equation, if you remember that. Okay, so that was my elimination approach, what we have used it. So you can refer my previous notes if you are having a screenshots. Okay, so maybe I go at the top. So we were at this location. So if you remember, by assembly procedure, this what we have eliminated. Okay, so this is what the elimination approach. So we learn about how to use this elimination approach. When any displacement is known, that particular row and column we are going to eliminate it. So this last time we have gone through. Okay, so whenever any displacement we are aware of, that particular row and column we are going to eliminate it. Okay, and now we are going to, after elimination, we are going to form a system of equation, and for that purpose we use now Gauss elimination method. Okay, to solve system of equation. So Gauss elimination method is to solve the system of equation 9. Okay, what it gives? Okay, find Q, that is the displacement, then 10, find strain, that is dq by dx, strain you could find out, 11, then find sigma stress, that is modulus of elasticity into epsilon for the one dimensional. So these are some 11 steps which you have to follow in an whole FEM problem to get the solution. Okay, so just let me know whether you understood this or not.